Assalamu alaikum and a very good day to all present today. Welcome to the first round of English debate competition InterVarsity Science e-Debate Challenge 2021. The motion for this debate is in light of the short film Safe Rough, the House regrets the use of animals in scientific research. I will be the chairperson and the timekeeper for room 7. Let me now introduce the debaters to you. Acting as the government team for this debate is a team from UUMA with Kirtiga as the Prime Minister, Durgashini as the Deputy Prime Minister, Parminjit as the Government Whip. Acting as the opposition team for this debate is a team from UNIKLB with Faseha as the opposition leader, Irdina as the second opposition speaker, and Shahira as the opposition whip. Our panel of adjudicators consists of Lau Sio Meng, Alexia, Zara Nadira, and Tiru Tanikesh. Before we begin, I will briefly explain the rules. Sensitive issues related to religion, racism, and touching a person's personality are prohibited. The use of Quranic verses and hadith to strengthen arguments is strictly prohibited. Each debater may speak for 7 minutes. The reply speech is 4 minutes. Time will begin to count as the debater begins to speak. The bell will be rung once at the end of the first minute to indicate that POIs are allowed to be asked by the opposing bench. Meanwhile, at the end of the sixth minute, the bell will be rung once to indicate that the time allocated for POIs has ended. The bell will be rung twice at the end of the seventh minute to indicate that the debater's time has expired. For the reply speech session, both teams will be given 1 minute as preparation time before making their respective reply speeches. At the third minute of reply speech time, the bell will be rung once. In the fourth minute, the bell will be rung twice to indicate that the time for the reply speech has ended. While the debater is speaking, the opposition team can apply POIs in the form of question, statement, facts, explanations, and correction. The opposition team are allowed to turn the microphone on or raise hand and papers to alert the speaker for POIs. No POIs are allowed during the reply speech session. If the debater loses internet connection during the debate, the debaters are given 10 minutes to return to the debate session. If when the debater successfully returns to the debate session, the debater can continue the debate where they stopped and there are no deduction marks. If the debater is unable to enter the room after 10 minutes, the next debater from the opposition team will continue the debate session. Debaters are reminded to ensure internet access is available and in good condition for the smooth running of the debate session. Victory will be awarded to the team that gets a majority vote from the panel of adjudicators. The decision of the panel of adjudicators is final. Now we come to our debate today. To open the case from the government team, I call upon the Prime Minister to start the debate session.
A very good evening, Abi, to the adjudicators and my fellow competitors. Today, the government team would regrets the idea of regrets the idea of animal testing that should be done on the clinical tested on animals. Okay, imagine getting caged up and not being able to move freely and not being able to have food and having toxic substances being injected to your eyes and to your body every day. This is the animals, this is the situation being faced by the animals every day, just because some homo sapiens wants to have clear skin, some homo sapiens wants to look good, and just because for their beauty purposes. Millions of animals are getting killed in laboratories every day with no chance to object. My question over here is, how can you be so inhuman? This is a complete violation of rights. of the animals. If you see, for an example, if you see a pet over in a stray cat getting hit or getting kicked, you definitely feel sorry for the cat and you want to rescue it. But why are you so quiet when millions of animals are getting tortured in a daily basis just because for beauty purposes? This is completely unethical and inhuman. Animals are living things which are similar to human beings. They do feel pain as much as human do. And this doesn't, just because animals are not being able to speak up, this doesn't give you the right to step on it or violate its rules. In fact, study shows that animals have feelings, thoughts, goals, needs, desires which are similar to human functions, and these similarities should be respected and not exploited. In animal testing, what we are able to see clearly is animals are getting exploited for your own greed. This is not even a need, but this is a want. Just because animals can't talk or voice out, this doesn't give you this doesn't give you the authority, or animals being classified as a lower species than humans does not mean that you can neglect the right of the animals. We have the same right as the animals in this very world, and we should only use the ability to think, and our ability, the higher abilities that we have compared to animals, should only be used for the good cause and not to harm them. In terms, speaking of harming, I'm pretty sure that everyone would be thinking of harming. Animals are also being harmed because animals are also being harmed to get food, or animals are being hunted. This is also harming. This is a part of our life. This is how we should live. But what am I clearly trying to prove over here is hunting or consuming animals for meats is completely different from animal testing. Okay, so when animals is being slaughtered for its meat, it is done in a very fast way, and it causes the less pain. But compared to animal testing, where it is caged in laboratories for months, and you are not getting enough food, you are not being able to move freely, and all this torture which animals doesn't deserve. The animals are, as I what I mentioned earlier, animals are similar to human beings. They can feel pain. They go through every emotions what humans go through. They might not be able to think, they might not be able to construct a building, they might not be able to do many things that humans do, but these are the basic feelings, the basic needs of animals. And what makes you think that you have complete right over animals to use them and exploit them for your own purpose, for your own benefit, for your own greed? We have the same right. As I've mentioned earlier, we have the same right. This mother earth, this nature, we have to use it equally, and we should be considerate of all the other living beings being here. But we are human beings are being too greedy, and I have no idea how are we even supporting, how are the people who buys and support animal cruelty and animal test product being tested on animals. I would like to project that animal using animals for testing and consuming it as a food is completely different things. Humans are omnivores, so it is common for us to consume protein, and we often consume protein from meat like chicken, beef, fish, and stuff like that. But uh, as what I've said earlier, the process of killing it is different, and the process of torturing an animal for beauty purposes and any other scientific purposes is wrong. um, and I would like to place a question. Would you like it if you are placed in a cage, in a dark room every day, and not being fed enough? You don't have enough. Uh, you are not able to meet your family, and every day someone just come and inject something on your body. You are feeling pain every day. This is beyond basic. This is common sense. Every single human living thing deserves a basic respect. This is not even respect. You're not even respecting it as a living thing, but you're just abusing it and you're exploiting it just because it can't talk. And I would like to ask the same question as well. What gives you the right and authority to inject toxic substances? Okay. Now we know that COVID-19 vaccines are all over the world. Everyone are encouraging people to get vaccinated so that we can live happily. But then there are still people who do not take vaccines because they don't want to. Even though vaccines are clinically proven, there are people who do not take vaccines. When people have the choice to take or not take the vaccine, what gives you the right to force to inject toxic substances on animals? So, and what would I like to say is, what is the point of posting status all over the internet? Be kind, support, be nice to animals, but you end up supporting animal testing. Animals have families, and they feel pain, they suffer, and they communicate just like humans. So, animals are not required in animal testing, as they even have different body mechanism compared to humans, and there are so many clinical testings, and there are so many studies which proves that animal testing is not required. So in conclusion, what would I like to say is, animal testing should be eliminated. Making human lives better should not be justified for torturing and exploiting animals. The lack of capacity in understanding and knowing of animals doesn't give you the right to exploit it. And animals should be treated with respect and dignity, and this is the right treatment which should be upheld towards animals. So with this, I would like to rest my case.
Thank you for that speech. To open the case from the opposition team, I call upon the leader of opposition to continue the debate session.
In 3, 2, 1. Ladies and gentlemen, did you know that in order to get the COVID-19 vaccine, we had to do animal testing before humans volunteered to do clinical trials. Now, it seems that the Prime Minister wasn't very sure about this information. Assalamualaikum and good evening I bid to all. Today's motion, this House regrets the use of animals in scientific research. We as the opposition do not accept. We believe that this motion is false. Now, we are not denying the problem, as stated by the Prime Minister, how much cruelty that these animals go through. Yes, we are not denying it. Animals are going through such cruelty in these scientific research, which is why we, the opposition, which is what in the current world, animals are being tortured and used as lab rats to done scientific research. But we, the opposition, we do not want our precious animals to be tortured like that. We, the oppositions, are taking in mind for our stakeholders, which is our consumers, our people. We want them to be safe while also reducing the number of cruelty when it comes to animal scientific research. We will show you how animals play a crucial part when it comes to scientific research, but we will also propose to you a better way to do scientific research with reducing the number of cruelty going on. That is the current world, ladies and gentlemen. Animals are being tortured to death. We don't want that. We, the opposition, we do not want animals being tortured to death, which is why the mechanism we are bringing up here today is for animals to be kept in good shape, to be fed and to be settled in a good environment, have veterinarians stand by to take care of them. We do not want them to suffer in dark cages. We understand how the animals would feel, which is why we are trying to implement a better way. We want governmental bodies like the Animal Welfare Rights in Malaysia to take their authority, give companies license only if they follow the regulations that we have mentioned, which is keeping the animals in good shape, giving them less stress, feeding them properly, and taking care of them by having veterinarians on house. That is what we want. We want to reduce the number of cruelty when it comes to scientific research. And our mechanism is also reducing the number of animals used when it comes to scientific research. How? We won't deny. Animals are crucial. I've already mentioned that. And now I would like to go to my rebuttal, where the government said, like, for our home-based selfishness and whatnot, we violating the rights of animals and whatnot, which is why I said, do you know how much these animals are honored to us? Our stakeholders, our consumers today are living thanks to these animals. Animals, they die in honor, which is my point, which is what we're trying to do. They save lives of our millions of our stakeholders, our consumers. They save lives. Did you not know that? Our animals here, they go through the scientific research, and if they die in honor. They die knowing that they save the millions of lives. We should think about that. Now, to my point, I would like to emphasize how animals are crucial when it comes to scientific research. It is said that the biological of animals and humans are very similar, and when we do animal scientific research, it is to ensure that the safety of our product, be it a cosmetic or a medicine or a drug, is at the highest level of safety. That is what we want for our consumers. We don't want our consumers to die. Millions and millions of consumers. Imagine if COVID-19 trial vaccines did not go through animal research. No, thank you. What would have happened to our millions of stakeholders right now? Which is what we want to prove today. Also, if we were trying to implement human cell tissue, no thank you, human cell tissues approach, it will only able to develop one organ, which won't ensure the safety when it comes to scientific research, because only the human cell tissue approach can only be tested on one organ. It won't ensure you the safety levels of when the products are released to our stakeholders, our consumers. We are prioritizing our consumers' health while also taking consideration of the cruelty going on. We want to reduce the number of cruelty because, as we've already stated, animals in scientific research is a crucial part when it comes to producing products. Now, as I've said, when it comes to the COVID vaccine, humans can only volunteer for clinical trials. Humans can't directly volunteer if we were to be an alternative, which I am eagerly waiting for the government to say an alternative. They are saying to ban whatever, ban. She's trying to promote being an environmentalist, but they are not providing an alternative for the scientific research. You want to save these animals, put our consumers, our stakeholders' lives at risk, which is why we want to educate you. We want to educate you, ladies and gentlemen, the importance of animal scientific research, what it does, how much of a positive impact it gives to us, these animals, when it comes to scientific research. That's why, ladies and gentlemen, please consider that our alternative by the mechanisms we have stated to you. We want our world to look to continue animal in research testing, but we want to do it in a way where it doesn't promote cruelty and torturing these poor animals to death. We want them to be taken care of properly, how we would feed our pets, how we would love our pets, but we need them for our mechanism, which is why, ladies and gentlemen, we, the opposition, strongly oppose this topic. With that, thank you very much.
I would like to thank the speaker for their speech. To continue our debate today, I call upon the Deputy Prime Minister to continue the case for their side.
Alright. Am I audible?
Yes.
Alright. Starting in 3, 2, 1. Okay. A very cheerful good evening to everyone who's with me today here. Today I would like to light my views supporting the motion that this House regrets several the use of animals in scientific research. First and foremost, let me rebut the points that has been made by the opposition. It is very, very concerning that we have opposition who thinks in such way. When the opposition leader came with a statement that they agree with the effects that are having the scientific experiments are doing to the animals. I don't find a reason for us to explain more or for everyone to see why the logic is on the government side, because the opposition itself accepts that it is very, very wrong and it's very unethical to treat animals such way. And what the leader of opposition mentioned is that they will ensure or provide an alternative to love and to feed, to take care of the animals as if their own pets. Let me ask you a question. You want to have an animal, you want to feed it nicely, you're going to give it time to rest as what they mentioned, and then you're going to inject something that you don't even know what effect it's going to give to the animal. Is that how you take care of your living pet? My first question. I am using this example because this was the example that was given from them. Okay, so my following rebuttals will be as a point, as an elaboration from my substantive material. Next, I would like to get into my material, why I say animal testing is wrong, because it is cruel, unreliable, and also dangerous. Let me explain to you why I say that animal testing is very unreliable. Because do you know that 90% of drugs fail in human trials even though they pass through preclinical tests, including
please.
animal tests? No thanks. Whether on safety grounds or because they don't do work. Do you all know that cancer drugs have the lowest success rate, only 5%? Psychiatry drugs only have 6% of success rate, and heart drugs have only 7% of success rate. If you all test all this thing on animals,
Please.
yes, sure.
All right. Now we have distinguished the difference between cruelty when it comes to animal research and animal research done right. Comment, please.
Animal research done right. So you're going to tell me that you're going to test a medicine where you don't know what effect it's going to give, and you're going to put it right. I don't find the logic there. So you are injecting the poison the right way, and you are telling me that it won't affect the animal. Is it that what the opposition team trying to tell me? Secondly, I'll move to my point. Animal testing is very, very dangerous. Let me give you an example. Vioxx is a drug used to treat arthritis, and it was found to be safe when it was tested in monkeys. Do you all know that or not? And not only monkeys, but 5 other animal species. But this drug has been estimated to cause around 320,000 heart attack and strokes in humans. Guys, 320,000. Not only that, but also 140,000 deaths worldwide. But it has been tested, not 1 animal, 5 animals. Where is the reliability? If humans itself can have died that much, what about the animals? And let me give you another example. A clinical trial of hepatitis B drug, which is fluoridine, has been stopped because it caused severe liver damage in 7 patients. But it has been tested. It has been tested on animals first. It was okay. Why are you all testing it on animals? Animals and humans are different. Animals do not get many of the diseases that humans get. Animals don't have Parkinson's disease. Animals don't have major type of heart attack. Animals don't have many type of cancer. Animals don't have Alzheimer's. Animal doesn't have HIV. All these are induced, are being injected into the animals through all this clinical testing. This is what we say don't want. Only 1/3 of the substances known to cause cancer in humans have been shown to cause cancer in animals. Do you all know that or not? So I don't understand. You're testing for vaccine, as what the opposition said, testing for vaccine. Why? We have a lot of sophisticated medicine. We have a lot of medical procedure, mathematics, technology. There's so much of advancement. Why want to stoop so low to test on animals? That is my question. Why can't you all find other alternative than animals? Why you have to hurt one species to provide to your consumer? And again, I would like to make things clear here that the opposition have mentioned that it is their responsibility because they care for their consumer, that they want to provide the best for the consumer because they are saving their life. I don't understand. If you're talking about healthcare, okay, you might. No thanks. If you're talking about healthcare, it's fine because as long as you want to talk about vaccine. But I kindly request the opposition side to look further than healthcare in this. Scientific experiments involves cosmetic testing as well. And when you say you are saving life by putting it on animals first, there's putting a sulfate contained shampoo. Yes, sure.
So what the government idea on replacing animal testing?
What's the government idea? There are so many better alternatives. First of all, you can develop a technology on it. You can do testings based on samples. Doesn't have to be animal sample. You guys get me? Like, there are a lot of alternatives that we can find about with the advanced medical. So there are animals and humans are clearly different. And coming back to my point just now, when the opposition said that you are saving life, I don't find you are testing blush or lipstick on animals saving life, anyone's life. It's a need, it's not a want. You wear mascara, you go out. How does that even save one's life? Why you are feeding your customer and you're hurting an animal for it? You all know that monkeys are harmed just to make shampoos, just for something that you want to wash your hair and rinse it off. You have to make them blind. Where is your ethics? That is what I am opposing. And by there is no such thing as you are doing it the better way, like you're taking good care of it. At the end of the day, what you're going to give them is poison. So it is in addition with what my prime minister have told you, it is completely unethical, and as what I said, it is cruel. So with this, I rest my case. I hope you all have some compassion towards animals. Thank you.
I would like to thank the speaker for their remarks. Now, I call upon the deputy leader of the opposition team to continue the case for their side.
Can you guys hear me? Ladies and gentlemen, it seems like the government today doesn't provide us any alternative that can strongly replace the animal testing in the scientific research. So the government side seems like it's okay to give the consumer itself a drug that only can be proven effectively by theory. It's fine. We don't know what it does when it comes to the living things. So I, as the deputy leader of the opposition side, we oppose this motion. So as my leader of opposition have said, the mechanism that we are applying, we are not just simply using it as we did not treat the animal aspect. We take care of them. Those companies who are doing the scientific research, they need to apply a license to the government, so the government still can control the usage of the animal testing in the company. We are providing a better solution for a better world and a better solution for both for all of our consumer, all of our stakeholders, which are the animals, the consumer, and the company itself. So in today's debate, the stakeholder only talk about the animal, and they did not care about the consumer, which are the humans itself. They are self. They don't care about themselves getting a medicine that are not tested on the living things itself. So our goals for the opposition side is to lower down the cruelty despite using animal testing in scientific research. So before I proceed to my arguments, let me rebut the points that have been given by the deputy prime minister. She said that the usage of animal testing is dangerous because there has been proven that the medicine that have been created also affect human harm dangerously. So but the government side does not even provide us any strong alternative for replacing this animal testing. And they said about COVID-19 vaccine. Seems like the government side did not know before the COVID-19 vaccine itself is is done the clinical test, it was tested on the animal first. It has been tested on the animal first before it can be proceed. We know that it's safe on the animal first, and then before it can be proceed with the clinical test itself. Even with the clinical test, there are risks, and there are risks and harmful effect for the human itself. So, ladies and gentlemen, I don't understand what kind of world that the government side are trying to provide us today. It seems like it's a pretty dangerous world for no thank you, a pretty dangerous world for the consumers and the human beings itself. So let me proceed to my first argument. So as we know, actually, the government side doesn't know the animal are biologically similar to human. So nothing else are similar to humans in the world nowadays. Even if they created an AI things, it does not replicate or does not be similar to the human itself. You cannot create a machine or things like that that are similar to human. It is something that that is a living things. So the importance of the animal testing is it is act as a model to study disease, because human and animals share hundreds of disease together, hundreds of disease and illness. So animal act as a model for us to study the disease stuff. For example, ladies and gentlemen, mice are used as a cancer research. That mice itself are used for cancer research. They also affected by the cancer that that also affect humans. They suffer the same cancer and the same effect as human did. The difference is it's often possible for us to create an animal model which close to the human condition when it comes to cancer itself. So this may not be perfect. It still have risks here and there, but it may not be perfect. But it allow us to study, which would be impossible without the animal itself, because we cannot infect humans, volunteer with deadly disease.
POI?
We no thank you. We are the animal that we are using in no thank you. The animal that we are used in this research, we have our mechanism to control and to restrict the cruelty that is happening. So it can be proceed with safer condition for the animal itself. This study for disease is to save the human's life. Why this is why animals still used in the scientific research. Yes.
Okay, so you have accepted that I'm sorry again, the history of cancer with mice just now, right? So we have cured mice for cancer, but it doesn't work in human beings. So what is your take on that?
I did not say about treating the cancer. We did not find a cure for cancer itself. We are studying the disease itself on the mice. It act as a scientific research for the cancer, because one day we may find the most suitable way to treat the cancer. There are a few cancer treatments nowadays. We need the animal to continue the research on the cancer. Do you want to infect humans with this critical disease? Do you want to infect humans? And how? If humans, they have humans right, you have to compensate your a high pay, and it will affect the company itself. So we, as the opposition side, we do oppose this motion for today, because we want to protect our stakeholder, which are the consumer, the company, and the animal itself. So with that, I raise my case. Thank you.
I would like to thank the speaker for their remarks. Ladies and gentlemen, and the honorable adjudicators, I shall now call upon the government whip to rebut.
Okay, hello. I will just start in 3, 2, 1. A very good evening, I bid to the adjudicators and our fellow debaters today. The motion today is that this House regrets the use of animals in scientific research, and we, the government side, support this motion. And as the third speaker of the government side, I will address all the weaknesses and the arguments the opposition side has brought up and reaffirm my team's case and ultimately prove that we have the better stand in this debate. So firstly, the opposition side mentioned that today we are living thanks to the animals and that the animals died in honor. And I am shocked by this statement because she's justifying the human greediness just and saying that the animals died in honor to cater to our greediness, to cater to our needs. And while yes, it is right that today we are living thanks to the animals, but today we are living thanks to the testing done on animals in the past. And when now there are technologies available to find new alternatives, so why are we still continuing with the animal research, the use of animals in scientific research? And the opposition side keep mentioning that the government did not provide any alternatives. When in fact we did, I think they did not listen because the second speaker of my team did mention alternatives, which is like the tissue cells. You know, we can replicate tissue cells and we can test on them. And then the opposition side also mentioned that also we're not denying that the cruelty that happens in animal testing. So why are we continuing to support this cruelty? If we can find other alternatives, why are we still using animals to test on scientific research? And she also mentioned that we do not care about we do not care about the consumers, and we only care about animals. And I can say the same thing about the opposition. They are only caring about the humans, the consumers, instead of the animals. When instead consumers' safety also rely on this testing. And if they care for the consumers so much, then why are so many of the tests done to animals still fail in human tests? Why? Like the example given by one of the speakers in my team about the failure in animal testing, and humans are still affected by it. So it has been proven that animal testing is not effective. So why are we still continuing to use it? And next, I will also move on to the point made by the second speaker of the opposition, the fact that the government, she mentioned that the government goal is to lower down cruelty. How are you going to lower down the cruelty? Why not you eradicate the cruelty instead? In all, like just eradicate the cruelty. Animals, like, okay, the world is already cruel. The world is already cruel now. Why are we continuing this? Why are we making it worse? No longer is the time when we have to rely on conventional methods. We have to rely on animal testing. We have to harm so many animals. We have to inject them with this and that. It is no longer that time, ladies and gentlemen. We are in a place, we are in an era where technology is dominating everything. And with we can definitely move on to more alternatives. And if
Your
they
eye,
test
please. Your eye.
accepted.
Clarification on technological alternative, please. Thank you.
Technological alternatives like more research done using technology available now. For example, we can work on finding more data on how alternatives to animal testing can help. And it does. If you think that animal testing is the only way, how come there are some products that do not test on animals? How come there are some products, cosmetic products, science research products that are made without testing on animals? They are cruelty-free. Are you saying that they are not safe, the consumers should not use them? No. Products like Dove, Lush, Bath and Body Works, yeah. These are all the examples of products that do not use animal testing. They are cruelty-free, and if they can do it, why not the other products? If they can do it, what is the justification for saying that about consumer safety? And next, the opposition side also mentioned that the point made by the second speaker on the opposition side that animals and humans are biologically similar. Animals are biologically similar to humans. So now my question is, if the animals are biologically similar to humans, so why will you test something on animals that you will not test on humans first? Don't you see how wrong and how unethical this is? Instead, when we can work on finding, there's no need to cause pain and suffering to animals when people can just use computer systems. No, rejected. people can use nowadays when we are studying computer system, mathematics, human tissue, cell cultures, we are more focused on clinical studies. I believe that we should definitely not stop the usage of animals in scientific research. And I also noticed that the opposition argument revolves completely around how they are not going to promote cruelty. They want to continue the use of animals, but in a less cruel way. That does not even make sense, because when you are testing on animals, you are injecting things that you do not know the effect of. You are injecting things to them. You are, no matter what you say, maybe you can provide them with good food and all, but the pain they feel is still the same. The effects on them is still the same. So how is this less cruel than just testing them and injecting them like how they are already doing now? And besides, wait. The opposition side also mentioned that okay, I think that is all mentioned by the opposition side, because the argument revolved mostly around consumers and how we did not provide alternatives. But that is wrong, because we have clearly provided a lot of alternatives. And based on on the points made by my teams, ladies and gentlemen, in referring back as to whether this house, in referring back to the motion as to whether this house regrets the use of research, we, the government side, support the motion, and we would like to that members of the floor will also agree in supporting today's motion. And it is clear that we have been more comprehensive on why you must support the motion presented today, because even though the opposition side had been circling around some cause and effect on the issue, we clearly provided better issues and covered this issue more comprehensively. With that, I rest my case.
I would like to thank the speaker for that speech. It is now time to listen to the rebuttals of opposition whip.
Ladies and gentlemen, in 2019, our world are being fighting with COVID-19. And in 2020, we finally got the vaccine, which can help the people from getting COVID-19. And you know who we must thank to? The mouse. The animal testing that they did for the vaccine before they test on human. And I don't know why the opposition being such a like that, thinking that clinic animal testing does not benefit our stakeholder at all. With that, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh, and a very good evening to all. So basically, what the Prime Minister has said, they said that animal testing should be eliminated. And then we asked them, then if animal testing should be eliminated, what are the other alternatives that the government can give, right? And then they say that develop the technology test on the sample. Well, I ask you, before you develop the technology on the sample, right? What is the sample? What is the sample and what is the technology? What kind of technology that you want to develop? And that is what the burden that the government failed to prove to us. Because what kind of technology? How you going to develop the technology? Because I believe if you want to create that technology, you need animal testing for that. You need animal to do the research scientific on that. No, ma'am. And then that is what the government failed to prove to us. And I asked them, what kind of technology? My deputy RO asked what kind of technology, and they did not provide to us. And that is what the government failed to prove to us. And then they say about we did not think about our stakeholder, which is our animals. Well, our stakeholder now is our animals, consumers, and the company. So the government keep talking about the animals. We do care about our stakeholder, which is the animals. That's why when we want to do our research, we will lower down the cruelty, because we do not deny that in the current status quo right now, the people that are using animal for testing they are very cruel to animal. Like the Prime Minister said, they are not giving the food enough. They are locked them in a small cage. So we, the opposition, are trying to think a realistic solution for the current status quo right now, which we will provide that we will continue the animal testing, and then we will have some restriction, like my deputy LO said. My deputy LO said about the mechanism which the people, the company, they are trying to do the animal testing. They can actually apply for license from the government. So if they have the license, only then they can done the animal testing. So to have the license, how do the company can have the license? So basically, they can first, the government must see the company, the background of the company, and how they treated the animal and everything. That is the government will have to see, and then if the government is satisfied with that, and then the government will give the license to the company to actually do the animal testing. Because we all believe that now in the current status quo, in the current world that we're living right now, no other things that can actually very, very similar to human other than the animals. And that is what the government actually does not agree with us. And I'm really shocked because the Stanford research of the University Stanford research, they say about animals are very, very similar to what the biological of human. And this also have proved in the Cater experiment, which the experiment, the Streptococcus pneumoniae into the mouse, and they see the virulence in the mouse, and then that is the beginning of the pneumonia drugs over there. That is the beginning of the pneumonia drug. And I don't know why the government actually said that the animal testing does not reliable. Well, you're saying that animal testing does not reliable because of the certain drugs, certain experiments that are not successful. Well, ma'am, in this world, nothing are perfect, ma'am. So even if it's not successful, that is our start. That is our step to actually know where our wrong thing go. So that is the step, ma'am. So that is the step. So animal testing provide us as research scientific, provide us a step to where we have to start to develop the drugs for human. And I don't know why the government actually keeps saying about the beauty product. Yes, like I said, we the opposition said that we want to have the restriction when giving up the license of animal testing, because in our world, animal testing are allowed, but in certain restriction, okay, in certain restriction, in certain mechanism that only company that doing the animal testing in the right way, in a good reason why they're doing, only that we are giving them the license to actually do the animal testing. But in the world that the government are living right now, they are saying that we should not do animal testing at all, and just let the consumer use the drugs that animal are not tested on, that human are not tested on, and just use so that the consumer can die or can live. So that is what the government are trying to prove to us. So before I continue with my argument, yes, the POI.
Are you all aware that we are not only talking about beauty products? Are you all aware that scientific research is including beauty products?
Yes, definitely scientific research is including the beauty product. I do not deny that, ma'am. I'm saying that to receive the license to do the animal testing, the government need to see that. So you say about beauty product are using animal testing, and now beauty product are stopping using it on the lipstick, on the mascara that we're using right now, and like lipstick that I'm using right now. Yes, correct. So they are stop using that because they can use other things than the animal testing. But what about the drugs? What about other scientific research? The drugs, the vaccines need animal testing. So like I said, government can provide license, right? Government can provide license. So when government provide license, this company that actually are testing the animal just because of the lipstick, just because of the mascara, cannot do the animal testing. But companies that are producing drugs that help the humankind. Now, without COVID-19 drugs, we die. We're going to die. Millions of people die. Now, in New York, people are starting take up the mask and going to school. You don't want that to happen? You don't want that to happen, Mr. Government. You don't want that to happen, is it? No. So we're seeing that right now, companies that are using beauty product, they are doing that scientific research that actually other things can replace that, then they cannot do the animal testing. But in the company that actually help the humankind, they can use they can use animal for scientific purposes. So that is why we believe that government, the opposition are staying in the right place, where we believe that is the only solution for the humankind in the current status quo. I believe that one, and I've never been this proud to propose to this motion. Thank you.
I would like to thank the speaker for that speech. Now that we have heard all the three speakers from both teams, we shall take a short break of 1 minute. During this time, both the government and the opposition teams will prepare the reply speech. The 1 minute break starts now. The time of 1 minute has ended. I shall now invite the opposition leader from the opposition team to deliver the reply speech.
All right, in 3, 2, 1. Ladies and gentlemen, it seems to us that the government here today are trying so hard to be animal rights activists, but not proposing a proper solution to combat the current problem. Now, in the current world that we have already mentioned, scientific research with animals are doing cruelty to these animals and torturing to them, which is why we, the opposition, have strengthened our points by saying that we want to promote a new world where scientific research for animal is crucial. Yes, it is crucial when it comes to drug research and chemicals, but we want it to do in a way where it is ethical enough by the mechanisms that we have already stated. We've stated the policy and guidelines that should be followed by companies, given by animal welfare's government bodies. We've already stated reducing the number of animals used by sharing information with researchers. We've provided you mechanisms, ladies and gentlemen. We've provided you a better start of something rather than giving nothing, which is what the government have failed to give us. We've eagerly been waiting for an alternative that they can provide. They've only said technology, 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 but how sure are they that it can help? Animals used in research, the scientific research has provided us our stakeholders, our consumers here. We as humans are the consumers right now. We are we are trying to protect our stakeholders by doing scientific research, which is what we want. We don't want to risk the life of our consumers. We need to do scientific research in order to go for the next steps when it comes to laboratory reports or clinical trials. We need to do scientific research. And when it comes to scientific research, we use these animals, ladies and gentlemen. Yes, we've already stated, and we are not denying the problem right now. The problem right now is the cruelty faced by the animals. But we are not denying that animals are crucial when it comes to scientific research. Please distinguish the difference between cruelty animal testing and ethical animal in scientific research. The government is trying to justify themselves, saying that brands such as Bath and Body Works, Lush, and Body Shop, saying that these brands are cruelty-free or animal testing-free. Why can't other brands follow? Well, ladies and gentlemen, did you not know that the chemicals, the manufacturing companies do animal and scientific research? Oh, while the brands claim to be cruelty-free, the chemicals that they use are often tested and done research on animals, ladies and gentlemen. So what are they trying to promote? Yes, the brand is trying to be we don't know how transparent the brand is, which is why, ladies and gentlemen, please consider us. We are trying to promote an alternative, our better world, where we are curbing the number of reducing the cruelty when it comes to scientific research, We are not denying how important animals are, but we are we we are denying that animal research should not be done because animals play a crucial part when it comes to research, scientific research. Our goal here today is to protect our stakeholders, ladies and gentlemen. Our stakeholders, we consumers. As I've told you, vaccinations, the products that we use, the drugs that we take, all are the back end that were done was scientific research. With the mechanisms provided, we want to bring a better world to you. Please, which is why we, the opposition team, are proud to give a better world for you. Thank you.
I would like to thank the speaker for that speech. I shall now call upon the Prime Minister from the government team to deliver their reply speech.
All right, thank you. Starting in 3, 2, 1. To the members of the floor, welcome for the very last time from today's proposition towards the motion where the House regrets the animal testing on scientific research. It is now my pleasure to summarize this debate and take a look on what both sides have said and see what the outcome of the debate actually is. The opposition kept saying that there are alternative solutions, but they definitely clearly failed to even tell us what is the alternative solution on reducing the cruelty and so on. There were so many clashes, and one of the very main point that, and one of the only point that was stated by the opposition was the health of the stakeholders. This just clearly shows selfishness, where they think it is okay to harm the animals as long as their customers, the stakeholders are safe, and they are ready to exploit any animals and move to any extent as long as their customers, their stakeholders are safe. This is just pure selfishness. They are refusing to view it from the perspective of the animals, and the fact that they don't want humans to get injected with unknown substances just clearly proves that it is wrong. If it is wrong to inject on animals, if it is wrong to inject on humans, it is wrong to inject on animals as well. The government clearly dominated this issue by providing alternatives such as tissue and cell-based research methods. Even we can even use cadavers or sophisticated high-fidelity human patient simulators and computational models, as mentioned by speakers in our team earlier, which the opposition did not seem to pay attention to. And the opposition keep repeating that they are going to reduce the cruelty, but the point I would like to lay here is, the moment that you decide you are going to inject some unknown substance and you don't know what the harm is going to be on an animal, it is cruel. They refuse to see it, that how cruel it is to voluntarily inject something on animals. Speaking of the rights, the second speaker of the opposition also stated that if you inject some unknown substance on human, it violates the human rights, and the company have to pay a hefty sum. And they are again projecting selfishness by directly agreeing that just because the animals can't advocate for themselves, it doesn't mean that just because animals can't advocate for themselves, it doesn't mean that you can step over them and exploit them however you want. I would like to reinforce that animal testing are unnecessary, and we have two alternatives. And if we have alternatives, we can work more on the alternatives. And why are we still allowing animal testing? And just because animals are not able to advocate, and just because animal can't talk, it doesn't mean that we can use them for our own purposes, for our own illness. They have their own life, they have their own families, they feel emotions, as what clearly what opposition said. They're very similar to humans, and that is the very main reason why we should not test on animals. And mice are mice, people are people. If you are about to look the mouse model of the disease and to the model curves, we are just wasting our time. If you're going to compare the body of the mice and the body mechanism of the humans to find some solution for a disease, then we are wasting our time, because they have their own world. We can just let them live their life happily. Murderers, rapists, and human beings who committed horrible sins are even seem to be living a better and comfortable life in jails compared to animals who are being caged without being fed properly, without being moving properly. This is absolute unethical, and this is complete inhuman. This is inhuman. What makes us think it is okay to use animal for our own purpose? The oppositions are simply being selfish and they even refuse to put themselves in the shoes of the animals. The opposition side have been claiming and circling around the same cause and the effect of the issue while paraphrasing the points of each other arguments. They only care about the stakeholders who are their customers, and providing license alone to companies as they suggested is simply a way to make companies legally practice animal cruelty now. Thank you.
Thank you. We have now come to the end of the debate. Debaters are asked to remain in this room while waiting for the adjudicators to make a decision. Adjudicators are reminded to move to the adjudicators discussion room in the Cisco WebEx via the link provided.
Hello, is Yumeng here?
I don't think he's here yet. Oh yeah, he's here.
Okay, all right.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay, good. Okay.
Wait, are the debaters here already?
Yes, yes, we're here.
Okay, UniKL is all here, as well as UUM, right?
We are here.
All right.
All right.
Oh, okay. Yumeng, would you like to say anything in regards to the debate, or how would you like me to do the deliberation?
Well, okay, you can do it. We can add in things.
All right, sure. Hi there. Good morning, good evening. Actually, it's nighttime right now. Apologies. All right. That was honestly, that was an average round. I felt that the debate was not the core or the crux of the debate was not exactly thoroughly elaborated. It somewhat, to me, how I interpreted this debate was that it was a principles and harms and benefits debate, or one or either those two things. However, this debate has turned into some sort of like a mechanism or policy debate. So I had to take that into consideration as well as which side had to. Basically, how I judged this debate was that how which side basically gave the bigger impact or handled or elaborated the crux of the debate much better as a whole. So how I'll go through this deliberation is that I would I'll probably give some general feedback first, and then I would probably general feedback first, and then I'll give you guys the decision, and then we can go to the reasons why I gave which side over the other. So first of all, some general feedback, right? I noticed that some debaters were haggling. What that means is that you ask POIs maybe with between an interval of 5 seconds to 5 seconds, which is technically not very, like, we won't say that it's super bad, but it's not very nice or respectful for the speakers. However, I would probably recommend that you would ask POIs maybe in between 15 to 30 seconds. You can time yourself, because it can disrupt the speaker's thought, train of thought and speech and whatsoever. Next, hold on, let me just look through my notes right now. Right. Yeah. So I also thought this debate was not exactly, I wouldn't say it's not bad, but I did feel that it was an average debate. It was good enough to the point that, okay, you know what? There were some points that I could definitely credit. There was content and substance. There was comparisons. But you guys didn't exactly show me why is it mutually exclusive on both sides? What is it? What is the magnitude that makes your side so special? Why is it that we have to handle certain things better than others? In this case, why is it animals versus humans? Or why do we need to be ethical towards animals more, and why do we need to be ethical towards humans more? So I felt that the overall conclusion to that, or the characterization and framing towards that idea, was not exactly elaborated under both sides. So first of all, now I'll go to the decisions really quick. We had a very long discussion, as you guys probably, I don't know how many minutes the discussion we had just now. I did feel that we all did feel the same way. It was a very, very close debate, and it was very hard because we did come to very we had a long discussion to which side should we give the win to, and we were just trying to tackle which whose side had the better substance and had the better content, as well as presented probably an overall better magnitude and explained it very well. So we gave side opposition the win on a very close margin. Congratulations to side opposition. I believe that is Team UniKL. So let's go on to why UUM lost. Okay, I'll give you guys the chance to ask for personal feedback later, but I'm just going to go through very generally first. So I felt that overall in side opposition, you guys did characterize and framed your whole idea and argument very, very well, which is why have humans become so like why has animal abuse become so rampant? And as well as why do we need to even test on animals in the first place? Okay, yeah, that's kind of bad. And we do need to address the issue. That's pretty good. But however, I do believe that you guys didn't exactly explain to me what's the magnitude on humans. Okay, you want to make animals as stakeholders. I get it. But you can't just make animals as stakeholders. You have to include every other aspect as well. And there was a problem with the mechanism, since this has become a mechanism for policy mechanism debate. First, you guys said that, animal testing is bad. We are against it because animals feel pain, animals feel emotions, animals think, etc., etc. But you guys were okay with animal agriculture. I mean, technically, they are being slaughtered as well. I cannot exactly credit the point on slaughtering is kind of painless and stuff like that, because there are different types of slaughtering, and we don't just practice one method of slaughtering in any country at all. Some people use guns, some people use gas. There are different methods in every country, and different countries have different approvals. So it became really problematic because I was that was already at the back of my mind. Next, right. So then because of that whole emotions argument, the whole idea about how and why animals have feelings and whatnot, as much as you want to say that, another thought I had in my mind was that, what about animals that attack other animals? So does that mean that the animals are unethical? Because technically you said that animals have feelings, animals can think, animals have emotions. And you did not exactly want to identify them as a lower class of humans. You wanted to at least make them somewhat equal. So I found it really, really hard for me to credit that. Technically, you can run it. I do understand that you can run it, but I felt that you guys could have expanded much more on why is it that scientific research specifically, why has it become so harmful? Why has it made humans more desensitized, desensitized towards feelings, empathy and stuff like that? Because it has made a lot of people just because you're I can harm animals in scientific research, but at the same time, people become sensitized towards harming animals and whatnot. And humans have less empathy towards other living creatures. So that is a harm, or an example of a harm, that you guys can probably talk about in the debate. So I felt that was probably one of the few reasons to why you guys lost. The reason why I gave side opposition the win was because they at least provided an alternative and tried to handle both stakeholders at the same time. So overall, it was a little bit messy, but I did catch what they were trying to say. They did say that, okay, yeah, they wanted to make humans the stakeholder. They also tried to say that, okay, they try to defend animals as well by saying that, okay, yeah, we want and we can have certain mechanisms that can protect animals, but we feel that animals are also important in scientific research. And they characterized it in such a way that made these animals seem like they died for a purpose. They didn't die for no reason. Because if you want to draw a parallel to animal agriculture is just I eat stuff. Okay, sure. That's a desire. I don't have to eat animals, technically speaking. People have survived on vegetarianism and veganism and whatnot, but they tried to say that, okay, animals have saved human lives by creating or sacrificing themselves for vaccinations and medical studies, etc., etc., etc. So I felt that was a pretty strong point, and a pretty strong mechanism they also had was that okay, yeah, sure, beauty is probably a problem, because that is like pure narcissistic behavior and selfishness of humans to test on animals to kind of like, get the benefit, become selfish, and hey, I can do this and that, and I can test on animals and whatnot, and stuff like that. But they tried to mitigate the harms in harming animals, or like causing purposeful harm to animals, by saying that, okay, yeah, they want to have a system where animal testing should be regulated under the government, and laboratories probably need to have some sort of what do you call this, license. Yeah, so overall they explained it really well, especially under DLO, DLO, as well as WHIP. The points in WHIP I felt that were most crucial, especially the point on on how it is. Hold on. By giving the examples of, like, they want to like reiterating the cruelty on animal welfare, and why not just present certain types of laws that can mitigate these like narcissistic human behaviors and whatnot. And I felt that came out a little bit too late. That should have come out in at least LO. But I can somewhat understand the whole stance and the burdens on side opposition much clearer in terms of magnitude, content, substance, and stuff like that. So yeah, that is like my overall thoughts on it. I do believe that maybe Siobang has probably some thoughts to give in regards to the issue as well.
Thanks, Zara. You've covered a lot of it. I'll just touch on the essential difference. I kind of felt that there wasn't much difference in your argument. End of the day, I had a feeling that you were trying to compromise. There was a lot of fuzzy, nice feeling that both sides agreed that animals are cute, they're lovely, animal rights are important, and both are preserving it. In a debate, you are there to cut a sharp difference between the two sides of the argument, such that it makes it difficult for people listening to make a quick judgment. Right? They have to delve deep into their values, their thoughts, to decide which side to be. Having said that, the government had a very good point on technology, but they did not emphasize it strong enough to say, let's get on with life. Technology is supposed to help mankind and animal kind, and it's time to have a new way of agriculture and feeding humans and so on and so forth, and testing and so forth, which requires ethics to catch up. Right? We can admit that ethics have not caught up to technology. And while we are testing animals today, what if we start testing on humans or genetically engineered humans in future? All right, so what we are doing now has consequences later on. And the good point on opposition was their licensing. They presented a framework in how we can move forward to protect the animals while we still benefit or perceive benefits or real benefits that our current systems of testing need. So these were very strong points. We just felt that the opposition pounded on the licensing issues, the policies issues a lot more, whereas the government was touching on a lot of points. Technology wasn't developed enough. They brought up COVID, cancer, arthritis, but the opposition brought up the Stanford research papers. And at the end of the day, they looked like the team that had a bit more of the facts on their side. Right? So based on that, the margin was very narrow, but we would have liked to see a much more disparate argument between the two sides. Although it was very difficult, the scores were very close. We would have loved to have an even much more challenging discussion among the adjudicators. Thanks a lot, Chairman.
Okay, thank you to all adjudicators for the deliberation. With that, the House of Parliament is adjourned. Thank you.